Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. This is for Jack Thompson, who sent me a PayPal request. Sent me a PayPal request to do a commentary on the 1982 classic 48 Hours. So, hey, I have my headphones on because I'm actually watching this on the computer. And I hope you guys enjoy. Do my best with the commentaries. I'm not the best at it, but let's do right to it. And pause at the beginning. 3, 2, 1, pressing play. With the Paramount logo. They've made a lot of good movies. They make horrible Blu-rays. A lot of their films are not on Blu-ray. They treat them like dipsticks, but a lot of good movies. And the beginning of Eddie Murphy's relationship with Paramount, which would be going into Beverly Hills Cop, Coming to America, The Golden Child, and many more. Walter Hill, of course, same man who directed The Warriors, Southern Comfort. I think the last film he did was Bullet to the Head with Stallone, and then some terrible film with Michelle Rodriguez. Nick Nolte, this is when Nick Nolte would be the main star of the movie, meaning he would get first billed. Of course, when the sequel came out, Eddie Murphy was first billed because he was much more of a bigger name than Nick Nolte. Nick Nolte I enjoy as an actor. It's sad that his voice kind of... But whether it be cigarettes, old age, something else. But Nick Nolte is a strong actor, much more so in this era. I always forget that Ned O'Toole's in this. Of course, there's James Remar, a name I forgot when I talked about this in my 100 favorite action films of all time. Because this was on the list, because I love 48 Hours. It's hilarious, it's funny. Star-making turn for Eddie Murphy. David Patrick Kelly, good character actor. Talked about him in a bit. Sonny Landham, may he rest in peace. From being Predator. Yeah, this is James Remar. Now, James Remar, he was in The Warriors and a few other films with Walter Hill. That James Remar was going to be Hicks in that film, Aliens. He was going to play Corporal Hicks. He was cast. He filmed a couple scenes, but I believe he was in the middle of a battle with drugs, I believe. That was found out, and James Remar was out of there. Which, sad for James Remar, but glad for me in a weird way, just in the fact that Michael Biehn got the role, and I like Michael Biehn. I don't mind James Remar as an actor, but I much prefer Michael Biehn as an actor. Just personal preference. But James Remar does a good job as the villain here. He would also be in movies like Mortal Kombat Annihilation as Raiden, which was a big step down from Christopher Lambert in the first one. He'd be one of the lead characters in The Warriors. He was in this film called Quiet Cool. Once in a blue moon he played a good guy, but usually he would play villainous roles. And here we have Sonny Landham. He was the... Sonny Landham, I remember, as the big villain in Firewalker with Chuck Norris. He was also Billy in Predator. Billy, what are you doing? What's out there ain't no man. We'll all go die out here. He was also in Action Jackson and quite a few other movies of that era. But in the 90s, he didn't do a lot, except I think he was in Best of the Best 2. But I can't remember a lot of movies in the 90s that he was in. And here we do part of that hard-hitting action that Walter Hill would do from time to time in movies. Because he had done Undisputed with Wesley Snipes, then disappeared for a long, long time, then came out with a lame bullet to the head. This is a much better time for Walter Hill. Of course, Walter Hill, like I said, he was a producer in first couple Alien films with his buddy. I forgot what his buddy's name was. And then James Remar, written by Roger Spottiswoode. He'd be a director in films. I believe he directed The Sixth Day and Stop or Mama Will Shoot. Steven D'Souza would work on films like Die Hard. Of course, Joel Silver, big producer. The Matrix films, among others. Yeah, we got grumpy character Nick Nolte. It's noon. Do you know where your kids are? Do you know where your wife is? Is she in bed with another man? Are they getting stooped? There's a Ned O'Toole. I mean, I remember from a couple movies, one of them being the 1990 miniseries Stephen King's It. And this is a movie that kind of, I would say, jump-started the buddy cop film. There were films before, I believe one was called Freebie and the Bean, among others, that dealt with the buddy cop aspect, but this really catapulted that genre. And then later you would see, Lethal Weapon, Tango and Cash, Bad Boys, many other movies of that nature. What is up with the hat Sonny Landon wears? ER. Just a cap that says ER. Erectile reaction? I mean, I don't know. ER, he's a big fan of the show. Wait, the show wasn't out that time. Paulson? I know that. That's a dick move. That's a dick name, Paulson. You want the Pulsat. Jeez, Remar. I know what you're up to, dick. Put a bullet hole right in this guy's head. I always remember Dan Aykroyd's line goes point blank. Go pull in your head and fuck the bullet hole. And this is a typical relationship scene. What difference does it make? A blowjob is what we want. I'm tired of this horse shit. Take your yellow cups and fuck off. Your yellow mugs. Now take off your clothes. No, I'm just like, but the actors do a really good job in the movie. It establishes a sense of realism, like down-to-earth, grittiness to it. Doesn't seem too over the top, too overcomplicated. They're natural. That's what I'm looking at. It seems natural. Now, before I did this, I should have started looking up some info, some trivia, so I'm not boring you guys. I'm sure I already did that too late. But that's the tough thing about doing commentaries, is that you haven't seen the film. Well, I mean, you've seen the film, but you didn't work on the film, so you can't like give behind-the-scenes stories. Usually with the review, you're talking for only like 15, 20 minutes. It's okay, well, what do you say after that? But nice usage of locations. San Francisco. which would be used in other movies. I believe it was used in The Rock, I believe. Michael Bay's film. Metro with Eddie Murphy, among others. There's David Patrick Kelly. David Patrick Kelly will be, of course, Sully in Commando. I liked you, Sully. You're very funny. I'll kill you last. Remember I told you last, Sully? I lied. He was also be the villain in Dreamscape. He had a small role in John Wick. He was in The Warriors. Warriors, come on, play. That's David Patrick Kelly, and says here James Remar often went without any sleep before shooting his scenes in order to give the bad guy a more washed out psychotic look. Let's see. But yeah, James Remar definitely believable as a villain. Definitely has that intensity to him. Presence. Sonny Landham once again has that presence to it. Now, funny enough, this guy here, Jonathan Banks, coming up here. This guy here, Jonathan Banks, he'd be in another Eddie Murphy film, Beverly Hills Cop, but in that he would play the bad guy, while here he plays a good guy. Just funny that he ended up in two big Eddie Murphy movies. But Jonathan Banks is definitely one of those actors. It's like, hey, I recognize that guy from certain movies. If you look him up, it's like, oh yeah, he was in this and this and this. Maybe a lot more than you would think. While they're establishing, before the shit hits the fan, just some random trivia. According to Nick Nolte, most of the dialogue between him and Eddie Murphy was improvised. Eddie Murphy revealed inside the actor studio that he didn't know how to act with a gun, so he simply pretended to be Bruce Lee with his facial expressions. Eddie Murphy's paycheck was $450,000, while Nick Nolte's salary was $1 million. For the sequel, Nolte got paid $3 million and Eddie Murphy got $7 million. According to Eddie Murphy, he was almost fired for not being funny. He said he was not made aware of this until after the movie had wrapped. Eddie Murphy stated that the original character in the script was called Willie Biggs. He had concerns with that name as it sounded too much like a Hollywood made-up black guy's name, so he suggested the last name Hammond, based on a raspy-voiced cool kid from his hometown named Terrence Hammond. There's always a weird cartoon. I always wonder what the hell this cartoon was called. Let's see. Eddie Murphy didn't start work on till a few days into principal photography, as he was finishing season 7 of Saturday Night Live. Of course, after this, he took off and I think left fairly quickly after that. The movie during the late 70s was designed as a vehicle for Clint Eastwood as the cop and Richard Pryor as the crook. Around this time, Eastwood wanted to play the crook, turned the film down to do Escape from Alcatraz. It was in Turnaround and got developed into this. That would have been interesting. Clint Eastwood and Richard Pryor in 48 Hours. I mean, I love this movie, but that could have been really something. Clint Eastwood, Richard Pryor working together in this type of format. How'd you see that? Gregory Hines was the first choice to play Reggie Hammond, but dropped out due to scheduling conflicts with the Cotton Club. Other actors considered for the role including Richard Pryor and even a young Denzel. Well, funny enough, Gregory Hines would later do a film like this with the film Running Scared with him and Billy Crystal. It was a play a crook, but a buddy cop movie. A buddy movie, I should say. The car Nolte was driving was a 1964 sky blue Cadillac DeVille convertible. Paramount Pictures was considered that the film would be too violent to function as a comedy. Mickey Rourke, Stallone, and Burt Reynolds turned down the role of Jack Cates. Here we go. We got... I like the sound effects of the guns in this too. They have a certain power to them, these sound effects of the guns. They don't feel wimpy. They don't sound wimpy. Again, just a sense of power. Whether it's realistic or not, I don't care. I mean, people forget sometimes you have to embellish for a movie. And of course, I should mention the score by James Horner, who would kind of redo this score for Commando. I love Commando, but that's kind of one of the weakest parts of Commando is, not that it's a bad score, but it's like, wow, this sounds a lot like the score for 48 Hours. Not this part, but other parts of the score. But I mean, James Horner still did a nice job with the music. May he rest in peace. The word fuck is used 48 times in its various forms during the course of the film. Few scenes shot but never included in the theatrical or DVD releases. Like Jack and Elaine walking through Chinatown during the daytime. It's then a scene of Reggie trying to hit on women at a bar. Sometimes they're shown in TV broadcasts. In the original cut, Annette O'Toole had a much bigger role and even one, maybe two nude scenes. Huh. The 7th highest grossing film at the American box office of the year 1982. Sorry, I'm just looking through some trivia. James Remar worked with Walter Hill 4 times: The Warriors, 48 Hours, Wild Bill, and The Lawn Riders. Yeah, other buddy movies before this would be like Freebie and the Bean with James Caan and Alan Arkin. It's hard to say a buddy cop film because Eddie Murphy's character is not a cop. But it's still considered that sort of buddy formula. The original premise had the governor of Louisiana's daughter kidnapped by a criminal who strapped a dynamite to her head and threatened to blow her in 48 hours if the ransom was not met. The meanest cop goes to the worst prison in the state and gets out the most vicious criminal for his knowledge of the kidnapper, who is his cellmate. Yeah, that'd be a very different movie. Do a nice stunt. Did that motherfucker. Did him. Did the motherfucker. That's also the thing back in the day, is that when people got shot, it could be very bloody and practical blood squibs. Not cartoonish CGI that they just throw in there after the fact in post-production, which just takes you out of the movie. And 1982 was a good year for movies. I mean, even just sci-fi and fantasy. You had Conan the Barbarian, Blade Runner, John Carpenter's The Thing, and various others. Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan, let alone this. Of course, that captain is Frank McRae, who I enjoy. Frank McRae played the police captain in a lot of stuff. He did National Lampoon's Loaded Weapon 1 with Emilio Estevez, Sam Jackson. He did it in Last Action Hero with Arnold Schwarzenegger. I also remember him from the movie Lock Up, where he was in prison with Sylvester Stallone's character. And that's the thing, like, for the first chunk of the movie, it's a good, cop film. Nolte's given a solid performance. Has that gritty, little bit more real feel to it. Villains that have a little bit of presence to them. But then when Eddie Murphy comes in, then the movie really comes alive. This Blondie. Be shush shit on my face. Come on. Now that's a fucked up person who likes shooting cops more than getting laid, then you know he's fucked up. We have Brian James, may he rest in peace, who would later be the villain in the sequel. Apparently a lot of his stuff was cut out in the sequel, so if it was left in, it would have made a little bit more sense as to why he was a villain. But it's funny, like, Brian James usually plays a villain. You're like, oh, well, this is one of the few times he's a good guy. Nope, because in the sequel he's the villain. But Brian James was such a good character actor. Hey, did fucking Tracy. But Brian James, he was in The Horror Show with Lance Henriksen. Brian James did a lot of movies of that, like that. And always those police captains that gotta yell at you and give me your name, or give me your badge, or give me your ass. Who the fuck do you think you are? Well, he doesn't say that, but maybe he's saying that in his head. Yeah, cops did tell. Maybe I don't like that. I don't know why. That kind of line made me laugh. I'm going down where? Going downtown to the pound you found in the lost and found. Downtown to the mound on a Greyhound. if you listen, you can kind of hear the score to Commando, which would be years after this. And of course we're going to get into Eddie Murphy's character. And you know, if you don't introduce a character, it's a nice way to introduce him in this. That one guard almost looked like a young, like Joe Edgerton or something. Roxanne, you don't have to put on a red light. Off the streets for money. You don't even care if it's wrong or if it's right. Roxanne. How the hell did he get like a recliner in there too, man? Put on the red light. Just to put on the red light. Just from the get-go, you know, these guys just have that chemistry with each other. They just work together so well. I like the second one. It has its flaws, but I liked it enough that I still would have liked to have seen a third one. I would have been down for it. I don't know, maybe call it 72 hours or something. You know, they have 3 days. I mean, it's too late now, but maybe if the second one was a bigger hit, then maybe 95 or so. Instead of Vampire in Brooklyn, could have done that. I never also understood why this film never had a special edition Blu-ray. I mean, Eddie Murphy films, including this, made so much money for Paramount, to a point that even when Star Trek 4 was being made, Paramount's like, well, Eddie Murphy's a big money maker. Star Trek's making some money. Let's put the two of them together and combine it that way. Or best defense, hey, this movie doesn't work. Let's just throw in Eddie Murphy. They weren't doing that with every actor. Like, they knew they had a superstar there. And you know, Eddie Murphy has that fire and energy to him. Kids! Well, fuck you then! Ah, yeah, the old typewriter. There may be young people who never experienced typing on a typewriter, where it's so damn hard to just erase shit. Or sometimes you type, but the fucking ink didn't go through, so then you'll have like a 5-letter word and 2 of the words didn't print, so the whole damn word's fucked up. Like, I know this guy here as Bob. Like, I know I've seen him in movies before. I just can't remember. But yeah, I never understood why there's no special edition of this. Never understood that. Because it made a lot of money. And then there was a series of Eddie Murphy films, and once in a blue moon they got some features, Coming to America, Trading Places, but not this. Don't understand that. And the sequel's not even on Blu-ray. Another 48 Hours or The Golden Child don't even have a Blu-ray release. And The Golden Child made $80 million, which is more than some movies today make. It was a big hit. Ain't got no deal. I own your ass. No, you get this, man. We ain't partners. We ain't brothers. We ain't friends. I'll put you down and keep you down. You're gonna be sorry you ever met me. I'm already sorry. I thought that was a really smart touch is that you develop this piece of dialogue and then you're able to flip it around later on in the movie to establish another way of establishing the relationship between these two changing. Nolte says that there. Eddie Murphy will say that to him later. Again, thought that was, again, nice little piece of writing. What the hell you complaining for? At least nobody calling you shithead. Again, the movie works, but when they get together, it just, chemistry is combustible. It truly is. And you didn't need filters to mess around and make it... Filters sometimes can make a film look better, but a lot of times just makes it look more fake or phony or artificial. It's just, no, we have the cinematographer, here's the camera, set it up, let it film. And actually have the camera have smooth movements, not just shaky handy cam. That's way too typical nowadays. And of course, like a lot of movies, the two characters, they start off not liking each other, then by the end they either like each other, they respect each other, or both. Typical formula, but I could be a sucker for that formula. I could be a sucker for a good buddy movie or buddy cop movie. I mean, I mentioned Lethal Weapon, Showdown in Little Tokyo is a good one, I Come in Peace, Split Second, Tango and Cash, Bad Boys 1 and 2, Running Scared with Billy Crystal, Gregory Hines. There's various others. Luther, you motherfucker! Watch it, Luther, watch the door! Yeah, right in the nutcracker. Luther! Did that hurt? Really painful when you slammed into it. Luther, talk to you. Luther! I mean, it made sense why a cop would do that, because he is a crook and he has a gun, so it made sense why Nolte would have his gun out like that. So at least, I mean, again, the script does make sense on fronts of that nature. Yeah, Watchmen, this guy's having a ball with the door. This is sort of the visceralness of the language. He's a ball with the car door. Luther, are you mad at me? Are you angry at me? I think also because this type of dialogue would never fly in today's age of the PC brigade. You would never have your main character call a person who is black watermelon. You would never even have villain just use the word that rhymes with maggot. And it made sense because of that time period. People do talk that way. Whether you think it's good or bad. There's a usage of the N-word in this movie. Again, you may say that's bad, and it is bad. That does happen in real life. I'm sorry, folks. Don't be in a bubble. I think a lot of these people in Hollywood, they live in this bubble instead of the real world. Whether you think it's right or wrong, people do talk that way. When it's in a movie, it's in a movie. The movie's not meant to hurt someone. These are two hot women. I don't blame Reggie for wanting to have some the horizontal tangle with these two ladies. One can sit on my face, one can sit on my dick. I guess it does make sense that Naruto 2 probably had more screen time because, in retrospect, when you watch it, she doesn't really serve a big purpose in the overall movie. So I could understand if stuff needed cut out, why her scenes would be cut out. Because it's not the most crucial to the story. I mean, the crucial part is between these two guys. And people women just got their titties out in the police station. Long live the 80s. Goddamn, hallelujah. Women, I just saw a woman just had her titties out, just walking by. Well, my ass bleeds for you. I did your house, you'd go on a trim hunt. Again, they don't write dialogue like this. Well, my ass bleeds for you. I've stolen that line from time to time. What was that? My ass bleeds for him. I love this kind of dialogue. That's one of the biggest, strongest points of this movie is the dialogue. And again, it's said that they've improvised a lot of stuff with each other. There's your goddamn dinner. A Zadnut bar. Do they ever make Zadnut bars anymore? When did that, if not, when did that stop? Anyone who's a candy bar aficionado. And what did it taste like? I'm always curious about those discontinued soda, candy bars. I think it's just that thing of when it's there, you can get it any time, you don't want it as much. But when it's gone, you can't get it, then it makes you more curious. That's another thing. They don't smoke cigarettes anymore in movies. Because again, it'd be labeled... I mean, of course, the dangers of cigarettes in real life, I understand. But so are drugs, and you have characters who use drugs. These are all like little things that make up the ecology of a movie. And I really do mean the ecology, the surrounding feel, look, texture of it. It's up to the individual to choose whether you smoke or not. I've never smoked a day in my life, but I like seeing people who have cigarettes in it, especially when you can have fake ones. I'm like, it's like your wife, your woman, does she have like nice big titties? I just see this root will be a long fucking night. Torchies. What kind of name is Torchies? A bar named Torchies, you just ask for it to get torched down. Just think about it on the news. Torchies been torched down. Torchies have been burned down. Man, that was the wrong name to use for it. I mean, with Eddie Murphy, just wait. Playing no fucking dead. Number 2, you ain't got nothing to bet with. Sorry, I've seen this film so many times, so I'm replaying a lot of dialogue. I know that's annoying. My dick gets hard with the wind blows. I was talking about Eddie Murphy. Looking through his filmography, I did a Eddie Murphy marathon. I reviewed pretty much all of his movies. My all-time favorite is The Golden Child. I know it's not a normal pick, but I love The Golden Child. I've seen that countless upon countless times. But other movies, I like Metro. I like the Beverly Hills Cop films, at least the first two. Then when you got in the late 90s to the 2000s, Once a Blue Moon to be a decent film like Bowfinger, but there was a lot more Nutty Professor movies which I thought were crap, or Pluto Nash, or Imagine That, or Meet Dave, and this family bullshit. But then he did Dolomite Is My Name, and that's a fun one. And now he's doing Coming to America 2. Maybe barely his top 4. I don't know. I mean, Dolomite Is My Name is good, but who's to say he'll keep that streak going? Might be a one and done thing. You never know. Of course, this bar with the Confederate flags around. You wanna be a redneck, a redneck. We got titties bouncing up and down your face. Why don't you go hold down on a pig's face? Why don't you find your brother and fuck the night away? Why don't you find that woman and tell her to stay? Now this guy, the bartender, I believe is Peter Jason is the actor's name. And he's worked with John Carpenter quite a few times. I believe he was in Prince of Darkness, Ghost of Mars, and a few other John Carpenter movies. I think Village of the Damned as well. Could be wrong on that. But another good character actor. That's a fun thing when you watch enough movies like I have, and you go back and watch these older films, you just find a lot of recognizable people in the smaller roles. And this is what I'm laughing because this is one of the standout scenes in this movie. It really is. Just him going to town on this redneck bar, telling it like it is. Never see so many country fucks, backwards ass country fucks in my life. I didn't. This dialogue you would never have, right in the same thing, the N-word and a word that rhymes with maggot. You never see this nowadays. It just brings a toughness to it. And sad to say, a reality to it, because that's how some people do talk. Hate to be bearer of bad news. In real life, if you said that, yeah, it would be bad, but these are not real life. These are movies. People have to look at that, differentiate that line. We're not watching these films to have documentaries be told. My favorite line of dialogue is coming up. Where the fuck did you get this? Tax refund. Bullshit. You're too stupid to have a fucking job. Here it is. Where the fuck did you get this? Tax refund. That's bullshit. You're too fucking stupid to have a job. You like that shit, huh? You don't like that? You hate that shit, right? And weirdly enough, this dialogue was almost redone in a kids movie called Cup and a Half. You just watch the trailer, The Cop and a Half with Burt Reynolds, and there's a little kid that almost does the same thing, only, of course, much more G-rated. But I just found that funny, like an R-rated film, and the dialogue is being almost redone by like a, 8-10-year-old kid. Well, we can fuck with next. But yeah, again, don't believe me. Check out a trailer called Cop and a Half. I think it's at the end of the trailer. He's telling to like a guy who I think is his principal or teacher in a car. And this line always reminded me of Ernest P. Worrell. I mean, this is before that, but... You know what I mean? That sounds like something that Ernest would say by Jim Varney. Easily. New sheriff of town. Named Reggie Hammond. Right on. And this definitely was a star-making turn. If you don't have a strong debut, this is a way to do it. I mean, look at other actors and their first movies. I mean, even Stallone, some of his first movies were films like The Italian Stallion, the porno flick. Tom Hanks, he had a bit role in He Knows You're Alone, or what was that? Mazes and Monsters, that stupid movie where if you play Dungeons and Dragons, you're a crazy person. Whatever the fuck that movie was. I mean, he was a supernova. I mean, he's... Even if you don't like the films, there's been quite a few that he's made that were hits. Even the family variety. I'm not a fan of the Nutty Professor films, but they made a lot of bank at the box office. But that's the thing, like, Eddie Murphy's very funny, but he's not playing an idiot. He's not playing a goofball. And he's not playing... just trying to make faces and trying to be funny every 10 seconds. I mean... compared to, like, Tracy Morgan and Cop Out. Tracy Morgan and Cop Out got so annoying because he was trying so hard to be funny that there was never any real moments. Here, for most of the... Eddie Murphy's playing a real character. He's just a real character who also happens to be funny. But he's serious. He's not, let me make another funny face. He's not doing that. Man, no goddamn, more goddamn noise than busted chainsaw. That was also another line that always cracked me up. The 80s aerobics. I don't even know if they have this kind of aerobics nowadays, or they view it too sexist. See, when you didn't have porn and the internet, you would watch aerobics to have fun. And do the goosh, goosh, squisher, squisher. You can figure out what that is. And this woman with the bat is Denise Crosby, who played Tasha Yar in Star Trek The Next Generation. She would be in the first Pet Cemetery. She was the host of Trekkies and Trekkies 2, the Star Trek fan documentaries. But yeah, the woman with the bat and the blonde is Denise Crosby. Again, when you watch these older films, it's like, oh shit, that's how they got started, or that was an early role they had. That's the fun part of this. Just look at all like the slasher films. You go, what, that person was in it? Like George Clooney was in Return to Horror High, and Vanna White was in, what was it, Graduation Day or something? I wonder if even that would be looked at as racist today, that the Native American bad guy is called Billy Bear. I don't know, they find whatever the fuck. They could just find stuff in the middle of fucking nowhere and it'd be racist or sexist or PC, other bullshit. I mean, people just want to watch a fucking movie. But yeah, Birds of Prey come out and make every fucking guy a fucking idiot, moron, dumbass, or bad guy, and things are fucking fine. Okay. At least this, they're straightforward in their stuff and not trying to do shit behind people's backs. Really nice direction too, like the way this shot is structured with all the lights glittering around. Well, not glittering, but all these lights surrounding our two main characters. Just I mean, again, when you say lines like you've been dicking me around since we started this turd hunt. Again, this dialogue you don't see a lot nowadays. And they don't make these hard-hitting comedies anymore. Or at least very, very rarely. And they have to resort to being desperate, so let's have a raunchy joke. Again, you have your lead character, a cop, literally call Eddie Murphy as, forgive me, spear chucker. You would never see that nowadays. Holy shit. It's crazy. And one of my favorite points, and calling the N-word, and then sucker punched him. This is a fun little fight with this back and forth. They both get their moments too. It's not one-sided. Eddie's like doing his Muhammad Ali. You tell that sometimes it's not Eddie Murphy doing the fighting. It's someone else. Like probably like the back of his head, and like there's some moments you tell it's not Eddie Murphy. It's always my favorite moment. You little fucker. Push me in the fucking garbage. Because it's a rough and tumble fight. You little fucker. That always trapped me up ever since I first saw this way back in the day on VHS tape. Actually taped it on VHS tape. I think with a couple other Eddie Murphy films. I don't remember which ones. But I think it started with 48 Hours and might have been The Golden Child and something else on there. And now imagine this. You have a white guy who's a cop beating up on a black guy. Man, it would play off way different in today's life of Facebook and Twitter. Someone will record it. Look, that white guy. We just found out he's a cop. He's beating up on this black person. There would never be... Man, his career would be over, and it'd be a whole... That's part of the reason why you can't make a movie like this today. You just can't. Different times, different frame of mind in the country, even the technology. You'd have cell phones and cameras and all sorts of stuff. Social networking. And just not work in today's age. Motherfucker. Yeah, there you go. I'm going to keep this going. I'm going to be right back. I'm going to get some water. I just don't want to break the momentum for those who are watching at home. So I'll be right back, folks. Sorry about that, folks. Just had to drink water as well as drink here. Let me do this so you can actually hear me. Sorry about that, folks. Had to get a drink of water as well as something to drink here. Ah, yes. Got back in time. We're getting to another favorite part of mine, where they have to wait outside of this garage. Cop is a hard job, Jack. Oops. Jad, tell me a story. Fuck you. Fuck you. Oh, that's one of my favorites. To this day, I still laugh. Even though I know that it's coming. It's the delivery of the lines, the conviction they have in delivering of the lines, the palpable chemistry they have with each other. Two very different type of actors playing off each other so well. That's lightning in a bottle. That there are bad ones like National Security with Martin Lawrence and Steve Zahn, or hell, Bullet to the Head. Horrible one with Stallone and Son Kane. And then you get ones like this where, you know, directors say that if you cast perfectly, a good chunk of your job is done. And when you see a movie like this, it makes sense. So I'm looking at that phone number back there. I wonder if that could be called as well. And there's some good details, like they do throw in the detail, hey, could you charge the battery? We take care of that every month. I don't know if garages or whatever actually do that. I've never heard them doing that if you keep a car... Maybe they do, I don't know, you can let me know, but... Didn't that little detail, because people would ask, well, wait a minute, how can the car start after all those years? Well, that's why. And, you know, having the car be dirty. Believe me, there'd be movies that don't even pay attention to details like that. But of course, it's been there for years. Of course the car would be dirty like that. I know that doesn't seem much, but again, those little details help sell the illusion, which is a motion picture. You wonder I'm drinking Hawaiian Punch. Again, this whole like strong racial verbiage between our two main characters, I just don't know. I don't see that. I hope it does become the case. People look back on this movie and then they just completely derail it because of its un-PC dialogue and retroactively hate it because of that. Is that why it doesn't have a special edition Blu-ray? Paramount, you pair of pricks. No, that company sucks, that's why. At least when it comes to Blu-ray releases, they suck. And it's always sad when you look at movies like this and you know there's so much stuff deleted because there's so much into filmmaking that they film but they cut because of running time, pacing, maybe it's too redundant of a scene. and then they get thrown away because at this time there's no other avenues to see that stuff. But in Eddie Murphy's character, he's funny, but he's not a goofball. He's not silly. He's still serious. These pieces of score I remember being in the trailer for Commando. Especially in the second act of that trailer. Yeah, if you watch the trailer Commando, you'll hear this music there. I don't know, I looked at the clothes and such. I don't think this film looks that dated, too, considering it was 1982. I don't really see much that's incredibly dated. At least in my eyes. But I mean, it does have that look and feel that, I don't know, this to me pertains to a motion picture. Just when it looks so clean cut and clear, like nowadays, it just, in a weird way, it seems more artificial. Like, man, real life isn't as clear as it is in this movie. I know that, again, that sounds dumb, but this is one of those things that you wonder what's going to be the next after Blu-rays, 4K is going to be streaming. Is there something going to be after that? Like actually put some headset in and being in the movie. Made like a 3D hologram of the movie and say you're one of these bystanders and you're watching the movie on that. Like we looked at the scenes and we put a grid up and almost like the hologram room in Star Trek Next Generation. These guys aren't really being that secretive. You think they'd, do a little bit better job of hiding instead of being out in the open. I'm talking about our two lead characters. Really what Nolte's doing, Nolte's hiding behind people to sneak up on James Remore's character. And the movie, I mean, it has action, but it's nothing too grandiose of an action scene. I mean, we're what, over an hour in? Yeah, hour and 4 minutes in. We got like half an hour left. For action scenes, all we've really gotten is the lobby shootout at the motel. The hotel, I should say. This little bit here. There's the bit when our two characters are in a car shooting at the bus. Then a little bit of the finale. But again, it's not big, over-the-top action set pieces. Which in a lesser film that would be disappointing. But here, because the cast and the chemistry and the two leads and Eddie Murphy and even Nolte, the other elements work so well that you're fine with this stuff. You're fine that the action is not more grandiose compared to other movies. And further showcases how good it did its job in other avenues. This band going downtown. Of course, later on they would say the boys are back in town, but not yet. Yeah, this is a scene where Eddie Murphy's picking up women, and yeah, if you watch the trailer, there's a bit in the trailer that's not in the movie. That's what I mean by deleted stuff. I mean, would have been nice if someone at the studio or someone higher up had the smart idea that, no, let's keep all the stuff just in case. You never know. I wish. Going downtown. Fine, go downtown already. Have a downtown throwback burger. I don't care. Reggie Hammond, who gives a shit? Whoop-de-fucking do. Just ain't my night. The bit in the trailer has something to do with the woman thought he was a priest or something. Because he had been away or he hadn't had gotten laid in a while. Yeah, I mean, if you watch the trailer, it'll be on there. And when this came out, critics enjoyed it. It got good critical reviews. Like I said, solid box office. Sure considered a surprise hit by Paramount. I was surprised they didn't want a sequel right away. And it took, what, 8 years to get a second film. I am shocked. I'm guessing they were able to get the sequel because I'm guessing Eddie Murphy said, fine, if I did Harlem Nights, which is my passion project, I'll do the sequel to Another 48 Hours. Call it Another 48 Hours. I usually talk about the sequel, Another 48 Hours, which came out in 1990. I do enjoy that film. It does play too much like a remake of this one. But the chemistry between Nolte and Eddie Murphy are still there. It doesn't have that harsher dialogue that this does. So I would say the sequel maybe has a little bit more action. Is probably not as funny. But again, it's still a rather entertaining flick. See, that's where you know Brian James would be the villain in the next one, because he's a dickhead here. See, that's the telling point. See, that's the clue. But I mean, talking about the sequel, I know a lot of stuff was cut out in the second film. I know like Brian James had done an interview, at least a written interview, saying they felt kind of crushed seeing the finished project because when he got the script, it was a big part of him. You know, he's the villain and all this development. And then in the finished product, he was in the film for like 5 minutes. And I hate when they do that. Just like all the stuff they cut out showed in Little Tokyo, all the stuff cut out Cobra. I mean, different companies, but still. It's that curiosity of just wanting to see that footage. But yeah, Another 48 Hours, it tried to do a bit too much. Oh, Eddie Murphy's character's in jail again. Even the finale. where Eddie's a hostage and Nick Nolte shoots. I don't know if the director was trying to have a critique about sequels or what he was doing, why it was so similar to the first one. Kind of like Escape from LA, where, again, another sequel that just bit too much like the original. But still fun sequels on their own right. Just as good as the first one. And Eddie Murphy and Nick Nolte still had that chemistry with each other. But this one just had that Spitfire spark to it. The boys are back in town. In town. I'll admit this. This is a really embarrassing little story. I actually tried to do like a little fan poster where the buddy cop formula would be Deadpool and Raphael, and it would be used like another 40 hours. The boys are back in town. It was so embarrassing. I just gave up on it. I said, "Nah, I'm not doing this." I'm not good with fan posters and things of that nature. Sorry, now I'm being silent. Try not to do that because I know that's annoying. It's like, okay, we're just watching you sitting there with the microphone up. Do something, say something. I know it's annoying. I apologize. I mean, I guess as or maybe ask some people questions like, what would be? I think when I do commentaries in the future, I hope when I get moved in that I can do live streams again, and then maybe do live stream commentaries so that at least when it's dull, I could talk to people out there. It's just impossible to do live streams here because it's satellite internet, and satellite internet you can't do anything. So, it's just how it is. So hopefully maybe after this I can do live streams more and maybe do commentaries with live streams more. Again, maybe. We'll see though. We will see. And you know, they got a little bit of respect now. Even paid for Reggie's room to fuck. To have a little boom boom time. Yeah, of course I laugh. Actually, one thing I could look up is the year this came out. The 1982 in film. Get a little perspective on the year it came out. But I mean, okay, like the composer, James Horner, one of the criticisms is that he kind of redoes a lot of the stuff in his musical scores. So a lot of times they feel a bit too much of the same and just ripping himself off. But, I mean, he did some wonderful scores. Aliens being my favorite. But some of his work on the Star Trek movies. Another word. Did do a really nice job. Here we have one of the bigger action set pieces of the movie where I love the way it's filmed here. I thought really nice. I don't know if camera work is the right way to say it, but the setup, the staging of it is really nice. Especially when you get shots coming up here where it's like behind our two characters and both are shooting at the bus. All done for real, all practical. Right here, like, that's a really cool shot. Like, you tell the cameraman's in the back seat and just our two main characters are in frame as the bus hitting them and they're firing back and forth. That's really good looking staging of a sequence. For the year 1982, for Oscars, Gandhi won for Best Picture. Richard Attenborough won for Best Director, Gandhi. Ben Kingsley won for Best Actor. Meryl Streep won for Best Actress for Sophie's Choice. Louis Gossett Jr. won for Best Supporting Actor. Best Supporting Actress, Jessica Lange for Tootsie. Best Original Score, E.T., John Williams. Best Original Song, Up Where We Belong, Officer and a Gentleman. This is a nice moment where he actually steps up for Eddie Murphy. You don't mean shit to me. But, you know, it shows that Nolte, Eddie Murphy have a little bit of a camaraderie by the end of this. But yeah, other movies in 82, of course, First Blood. Airplane 2, the sequel, that's a fun comedy. The Beastmaster, Basket Case, Blade Runner, John Carpenter's Thing, Star Trek 2, Class of 1984, that's a solid one. Conan the Barbarian, Creepshow, good one. The Dark Crystal, Death Wish 2, Diner, Firefox. Hate that movie. I ranted on a movie recently. I know there are people who liked it, to each their own. I think Firefox sucks fucking cocks. Friday the 13th Part 3, Halloween 3, two sequels I enjoy. Let's see, Officer and a Gentleman, Poltergeist, To the Winged Serpent, Rocky 3, Tron, the highest grossing films in 1982 in the US and Canada. Number 10, Annie. Number 9, The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. Number 8, Poltergeist. Number 7, 48 Hours with $78 million. Number 6, Star Trek 2. Number 5, Porky's. Number 4, Rocky 3. Number 3, An Officer and a Gentleman. Number 2, Tootsie. And number 1, E.T. But it is that weird thing about the Oscars and awards of that type. So many times these movies get nominated and they win, right? But let's be honest. When's the last time someone talked about Gandhi, the movie? Like, when was the last time anyone watching this video watched Gandhi? Or any of the number of Oscar-winning movies that have come out? Yet they're, quote, the best picture. You would think if they're best picture, you would want to rewatch them over and over and over again. Even E.T. Like, E.T. I never hated. I thought it was okay. I know a lot of people hate E.T. and I don't blame them. But there's so many other movies, even that year, better than E.T. I mean, I didn't win Best Picture, but I'm surprised it didn't. But I don't know, just how popular it became. That's even another factor. How a movie that became so insanely popular, like E.T., no one talks about. Hell, not too long ago, there was a sort of sequel, but it was a commercial where an older Henry Thomas was with E.T. It's like for the Christmas season. That got like no promotion. Like no one talked about that. I'm sure if I say it now, people don't know. So it just goes to show how something that was so insanely popular, but today, like, no one ever brings it up. Shows, what movies can last and what movie gets the awards. But you have a movie like this, or First Blood, or some of these other movies. Hell, Friday the 13th Part 3 probably gets talked about more nowadays than E.T. Funny, but it's probably true. And who knows how many younger folks will know about 48 Hours, because how are they going to see it? Maybe on Netflix or Hulu or whatever. Maybe that's how. Just the Blu-ray, nothing on it, and I don't even know if it's in print anymore, and lousy covers. I remember the one poster which I thought was weird, where it was like Eddie Murphy giving like a big middle finger. I always thought that was a weird poster. I'm like, what kind of poster is that? I thought like someone made it as a joke, but apparently that was one of the real posters. And of course, we're getting on to our finale of the movie, where they're back at Billy Bear. Another Billy. I mean, he played... Sonny Landham played Billy in Predator. Now he's Billy here. Don't do it, Billy. Billy! What are you doing, Billy? You can't die. You see him cut his chest like in Predator? See, he didn't really die. He lost his memory and then went into the military, became a commando, and then joined Arnold's team in Predator. Denise Crosby, we see your tits. That's Tasha Yar's titties. That scream she has, it sounds like one of those plushes that when you squeeze their beep. Sweet toy. Again, this action scene is not... It's... How I put it? It's not incredibly convoluted or big or excessive. It's not big car chases, explosions. I wonder if you did this exact same thing today, people would be like, oh, that's it? That's the ending? Really? That's it? This is like something I would see on a TV show. Maybe nowadays it would be. But yeah, I think about the time it was made as well, and it doesn't bother me because it's the logical conclusion to this film. This film isn't about action. It's about these characters and the way these two work together, and so that gritty feel that Walter Hill brought to his early movies like this and The Warriors and even Southern Comfort to a point. Then I don't know what the hell happened to Walter Hill, because Undisputed was awful, Bullet to the Head was a piece of shit. I forgot what the hell that Michelle Rodriguez, Sigourney Weaver movie, not Assignment, I forget what the hell it was called. That was putrid. Smoke for the ambiance. I don't know where this smoke is coming from, but like, fuck, something's on fire. Someone's burning this place down. Call the fire department. I can't see shit in this fog. Oh shit, it's a crossover John Carver's The Fog. That's what it is. Secretly, it's the same universe as The Fog. Don't dread the fog. Yeah, well, Gons, you smell like pig meat. Jeez, Remore, you look like the type of character that would sweat Cheetos. But the smoke is for that atmosphere, and again, you see this, your lead character amidst this fog and that crazy look in his eyes. See, in the sequel, he actually did hit Eddie Murphy. In this one, he doesn't. Well, believe it. Now shoot him. You're dead as fuck. Wipe yourself, fool. You're bleeding. And wow, we're actually getting to the end of the movie, man. Man. Actually went a bit faster than I thought, man. He'll be back in about 6 months, but not according to the sequel, because some other bullshit happened and he got framed or something, and he was there for a lot longer. Which that was a bit depressing when he got the sequel. Like, he's still in jail? To some bullshit charge? Damn, that's a bit depressing. Should have your dick bronzed. Not gold plated? Sorry, now I'm just watching the film. I apologize. Now I just, once again, getting suckered into the flick. That's bad habit I need to stop doing when doing more of these. But it's kind of interesting how they ended on sort of a more quiet note. No music. Just these two having one last conversation. And then when we'll get into the music. And there's a little motif they'll play off in the sequel with the lighter. Do you have my lighter back, Reg? 3, 2, 1. Do you have my lighter back, Reg? And the great song at the end. The boys are back in town. And not that long of a movie, only an hour and 30-some minutes, so not too long at all. And Ned O'Toole gets third billing, even though she's barely in the film. She's in, like 2-3 scenes. And yeah, I guess just a lot of stuff was cut out. There's Denise Crosby. You have Peter Jason as the cowboy bartender. Yeah, the other cop, Chris Mulkey, he was in the Tom Selleck film Runaway. He was also in this film called Ghost in the Machine. Are back in town. The boys are back in town. Yeah. I just saw into there is just going on more for the end credits. Not much for me to say other than this is a great movie. It's a hilarious film. Awesome chemistry between the two leads. It's still funny, still hilarious this day. James Remar, Sonny Landham have nice presence as the villains. Gritty direction by Walter Hill. Has a little bit of sense of reality without going too overboard. That it is a movie. The hard-hitting dialogue. And Eddie Murphy, star-making performance, star-making debut. With that fire and energy to say, whoa, this is a guy to watch for. And then would do Beverly Hills Cop and all these other movies since then. But yeah, 48 Hours is a classic. Don't know what else much to say, but thank you once again to those watching out there. I apologize if the commentary wasn't that good because I would kind of freeze or just get sucked into the movie again. But thanks once again to Jack Thompson. Thank you guys for watching. Take care. And we will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.